Hello and welcome back to Color Theory Acrylic Painting. Today we're going to work on lesson 3.09 where we are going to go back and do some drawing to add in more detail to our painting. Um, this is a 2-day step process, so we're going to do about half the drawing in this session and then we'll finish the drawing in the next section. So let's go ahead and take a look. Some things we want to remember about drawing is going back to one of our previous units. We want to remember that idea of line shape relationships. So we're going to use our pencils. We're going to draw very lightly. Now I'm going to draw pretty dark so that you can see this on the camera. However, I want you to draw very lightly. It is going to be really difficult to erase on top of our painting. So, and get a really nice clean erased mark. So just draw lightly. So if you need to erase, you can. Position your main subject matter as the main focal point in the painting. So we're going to talk about placement. And then eventually we'll move on to the other, to that add symbols comment there. We'll talk about that probably in the next session. But I do want you to continue to think about that line shape relationships as we try to create a really accurate rendering or accurate drawing here. So we're going to jump back over to our screens. There's my camera, and you can see my painting underneath here very lightly. You can kind of see those guideline sketches that we've done previously. So we're going to use those to help us with placement, but we have to make sure we're sketching a more accurate image than we did before. So with my little crab guy, before I kind of put in an oval for his body, but that's not really accurate to what I see over here on my reference image. There's a little bit of a dip or a flat spot at the top, and he's, oval, nice and round on the side and round at the bottom, but really this flat spot. So I need to use line shape relationships and I need to draw what I actually see. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start with that main body because I do think that that is kind of important. And I want to make sure that I'm getting that. So I'm looking often at my reference image as I'm thinking about my placement. Now the side comes down and rounds out. I'm using those guidelines underneath that I have because I do want to try to cover them. The bottom here is still nice and round, so I'm going to keep bringing this around. I kind of start to angle up, and it's going to be a little sharper of an incline there. And I'm going around, coming back up here where I started at the top, and I'm going to kind of make that meet and round that out. So I now have drawn what I see over here. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding in some of these other elements. So this is like starting here, coming up and around, and it's a little elongated here, a little shorter of a curve there. So I'm going to come in here, it comes out, kind of up, this short curve around, and kind of ends more on a down like that. So it's a little bit wider, it's a little narrower, I'm a little wide, but I think it'll be okay. For my claw, I'm going to come up, curving out. I'm ignoring these ray lines. It's not part, my rays are in different spots. This is creating a kiss in my composition I'm not crazy about, but it does match. Now that line was pretty straight that I just drew, does dip a little. So I'm going to try to take that into account. And then this comes out and then circles back and is a little rounded at the top. In my guideline, that was nice and sharp, but it's really not that way. Now, this is going to curve out and be kind of wider here than I had under my guidelines. And it should end up in there. Okay, so again, I'm firming in and really paying attention to those line shape relationships. Inside here, I do have this triangular curved shape. And then this ends sort of below with another rectangular shape there. So I'm a little low. If I'm looking, they kind of are in line with each other. I'm a little low. Could shorten that up, but I think it'll be fine. Okay, now with my guidelines, I had just put in some simple angles to kind of indicate where that leg was going to be. So I'm going to come in now and actually draw in. These get pretty close. They're close here. So I'm going to come over, and this is like a nice elongated shape. It rounds itself out almost, and then it comes down to a kind of a wider curve, but it's attached. So I've got to bring that down a little bit there. Something like that looks good. And then I'm going to come over here to the right, and this guy curves here, coming down, starting here at the intersection, kind of comes this way. And the point of this exercise is to really think about line shape relationships. Okay, before I get too far into this piece here, I want to come and put some of this stuff in beneath because they touch over here. So let's see. My guideline is way down here, so it's a little bit off. So I'm going to draw what I actually see. It's going to kind of create this triangle, get really close to this one up here, and curve around. And when it comes down in, it's coming down in almost underneath. I'm a little high, but I think it's okay. And then this guy is going to go this way. There. Okay, so I'm coming back up here, and he's going to come down and touch. And come over this way and touch. So, okay. This guy should be coming out down here, but I've got him too close there. So I'm going to come right in here. Add that in. I know it gets a little dark in this. It's hard to see what I'm doing in that darker area. And then right here, that. And then this piece is kind of way more aggressive than any of the other ones, bigger, longer. That. Missed this guy up here. Comes down and almost touches. I have him touching there, almost touches there. Okay, so I have that kind of side done. I'm going to come into this middle section. If you do have any of those pencil lines that are still in any of your white area, grab out your eraser from your kit and you can erase those lines. You can't really erase anything that's under the paint, but anything that's in the white still that you did not add paint on top of, you can erase still. I'll just take some of that out. Okay, and then let's think about his little face here. His eyeballs are above him, so all I really have inside here is his mouth, so it's a curve here. I'm looking at the placement that I have in relationship to the outside line, and I have a curve over here. Again, thinking about my placement, and then the top edge curves up, down, and then into that other curve on the side. It's kind of crooked, and it comes along the lower part of this, comes along the upper line for a minute, dips kind of deep, and then kind of comes up high on the other side. On the left and right of that, we have a circle. We'll put a circle there. Thinking about my line shape relationship placement, I'll put a circle there. Okay, and then I'm going to come up and do one of the eyes. Maybe I'll do both of the eyes. So placement here is more like over here. So let's see if I can get rid of that line I just added in there on the painting. I don't like it there. I might have to touch up that painting there a little bit. If I'm looking at his eye placement, it needs to be more like over here. They kind of go at an angle. And then his eye is pretty big compared to that line. And he's got this inside black section. So I think that looks pretty good. Again, placement of his eye on this side, somewhere like this, angled to the left. And then, let's see, as far as spacing goes, I think that looks pretty good. And he's got another big section of white and black there. All right, so I think that's looking pretty good. I'm about halfway done with my drawing. I think I'm going to do one or two more legs, and then we'll go from there for the day. So let's do his claw because I think they're fun and they really tell us a lot, communicate a lot about his personality. So we'll start with this shape here. So I'm going to start thinking about where I had it in my guidelines. I think it needs to be a little bit bigger than what I had and come in. I'm spending a lot of time looking at my reference. Okay, so I think that's my first little space. His claw sits kind of like on this shape. So at the end, it kind of comes out away from the end of that shape. This is the big section. I don't think I was quite big enough in my guideline. And then it comes down, does nice offset curve there. And then it's got, as far as, it's about half the distance. So I think I'm good there. It's going to come up and curve this way and come down. When it comes down, it's really close to his eye. I think I'm a little set a little far, but then it comes back pretty aggressively back to the left. So I'm going to bring this back over. So I think that looks pretty good. He also has this little white space in here with a rounded bottom shape there. Okay, so I think I'm about halfway done with my drawing. We're going to do the other half of our drawing another time. So I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. So at this point, I'm going to take a break from drawing. I'm going to take my progress photo and submit that to our progress sketchbook. If you have any questions or concerns about this step of the project, please let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the process.